a little bit more complex movement here. Are there any questions? Looks like you guys are all doing great out there. Now I'm going to go ahead and teach you the two-handed backhand. It's a little bit more complex, so I want you guys to go ahead and really listen and really take your time when you're learning this movement. You all remember the Eastern forehand grip that I taught you last time? Let me go ahead and see that. Go ahead and shake hands with the racket. Top of the thumb goes right. I like that, good. So you guys are all getting it down, it's good. Okay, good. What you're gonna go ahead and do now is I want you to do that with your non-dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, I want you to go ahead and do an Eastern forehand grip in your left hand. If you're left-handed, do it in your right hand. And I want you to go ahead and choke up on the racket so your hand is towards the top. So you have a couple inches on the bottom for your other hand. You're gonna go in what's called a continental grip. Basically, it's an Eastern forehand grip, but rotate it a little bit inward. So you're gonna go ahead and shake hands with it and just go ahead and rotate it inward, probably 30 degrees or so. So you have a nice flat backhand surface. Okay, let me go ahead and see that. Can everyone just go ahead and hold it out in front of them so I can see? Good, you have a little bit smaller racket, so that's tougher. So it should feel flat, it should feel firm. Now when you're doing a backhand stroke, the footwork is very similar to the front hand stroke, except everything's gonna be the opposite. So if you're right-handed, usually you'd open up with stepping back with your right foot. But this time for right-handed, you're gonna step back with your left foot. Try and scratch your back, it's gonna be a little bit tougher too, but you're really gonna swing back, pivot, rotate your hips, and follow through, okay? And make sure that you really rotate those hips because that's where your power is going to come from. And in the backhand especially, it's important to keep the racket face square or perpendicular to the ground. So if the ground's flat like this, you really want to keep your racket square. That's probably the most important thing when doing the backhand. If you don't have a square racket, the ball's going to go either up or down, depending on which way your racket is angled. So go ahead and spread. Let's go ahead and get into 3 lines like we did before. We're going to go ahead and practice the stroke. Good question?
Yeah. What about like when we follow through, it comes up to our shoulders or like across our body?
It's more across your body. That way. You don't want to follow through up. If you follow through up, then the ball's going to stay upward. So you want to follow through straight across your body. Just like that. Let's go ahead and spread out a little bit. We'll go ahead and practice this. You're aware of your surroundings. You don't want to hit anyone in the head with the racket, so sure that you spread out, getting your lines like you were before. I really want to see you guys start in your ready stance. To the back, give a solid backhand. It's going to feel a little bit awkward because you're swinging, you have your power with your non-dominant hand, so it might not feel right at first. It really just takes a couple swings to get used to it. Good, that's good, Brent. Rotate those hips, Allie, rotate those hips.
Make sure when you come through, extend all the way.
Yeah.
No, cut the swing short. Yeah.
Really just get
And focus
acquainted
on
with the
keeping
swing.
your racket head
Very important.
not moving. Like,
So just straight like that?
yeah. So that when it hits the ball, then yeah. You can move it
Work on when
afterwards,
you're
after
swinging,
it hits
watch
the
your
ball.
racket
But
face.
before, you don't want it to be moving.
I feel like it's switch hitting on baseball.
It's similar.
Instead of when you're swinging back, instead of bringing it up here, that might make you stretch a little bit. So try and bring it more across your body.
Okay, now I'm going to show you, it's also a backhand stroke, but it's really similar except for it's a single-handed backstroke. And instead of coming through with both hands, you're coming back with one. And I want you guys to think of it kind of like pulling your sword out of your sheath. And so this hand isn't really guiding you at all, it just comes back with you. And this one's harder because it's all coming from your right hand and you're not guiding at all with your opposite hand. But it's usually used more advancedly, but professional players kind of pick whichever one they like to use better. So for today we're going to let you practice both and you can choose which one one that you find more comfortable for you or that you can have more control with. But basically you're going to do the same thing when you come back, and you're going to swing through with one hand. It's also even more important to keep the racket head square, the face facing towards the net as you swing when you contact the ball. And you want to contact the ball a little bit in front of you around hip level. And so you're just going to do the same thing. And when you follow through, you should sort of end up like the Statue of Liberty. So the keywords are pulling your sword out of your sheath and ending up like the Statue of Liberty. So it's just kind of whatever one you feel comfortable with. When we start practicing, you can do both and choose. And also for the grip, it's the same grip as your dominant hand on the two-handed backhand stroke. You do the Eastern forehand grip and you tilt your wrist a little bit so that your racket head isn't as twisted when you're coming back, to keep the racket square with the ball. Does anyone have any questions about the single-handed backhand stroke? We good? You guys ready to what? Yeah.
Go ahead and practice it a few times to get comfortable with that one. Remember, sword comes from the sheath, from your side.
Katie, question. Yeah. When would you, like, 'cause when you're holding it here and you don't know which side it's going on, you have the Eastern, right?
Yeah.
And then when would you rotate? Yeah.
Yeah, you're just going to be like this. I don't even hold it with you.
Yeah.
If you're going to come back, I just going to go like this.
Just kind of rotate it before you swing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's pretty quick, but it's important to remember because if you just keep it like this.
Right. Crooked. Okay.
Now, soldiers, this is your chance to practice your backhand. We're going to each give you a ball. I want everyone to spread out along the tall, find a place on the tall fence where you guys are all spread out, and you're just going to practice the backhand at your own pace. So go ahead and take a nice slow pace. This will give you a chance to see what it feels like with the ball actually striking the racket on the backhand. Does anyone need a ball? Go ahead and spread out. We'll come around and monitor and give you guys feedback as to what you can.
And Daniel's going to do it right here for you, just really quick so you can see.
So all the movement is you got the fence, you get more repetition, you try to bounce it, or you can just throw it in the air. I prefer to bounce it so you can kind of movement here. Now you can rotate, and finish here. Give yourself some room, that way your racket's not going to hit the fence and the follow through, and make sure the people around you for safety reasons are hitting you on the head. Same form movement, just practice against the fence for max repetition. There you go. Your weapon, Soldier Bianca. That's good, Corey. Good follow through on that. Make sure you got the whole body movement. It's not just a swing with your arm. It's the full everything. Bianca, why don't we have you come over against this fence like a little more? Okay, Caroline, spread over here. Everyone takes you. So if you're going through, you're not just going to stab it. Try bouncing it higher. Just time it. So yeah.
Fence is not very good at returning.
Better about that. Time it.
It's too strong.
Kill myself. It's off the foam.
That's a good height. Good tip is to go and try and imagine that the net, look at the net and how high it is, and that's a good way to imagine how high you can hit it. Good, Katie.
Did you lose one?
So you notice how the follow through guides you to where you want to end up? That way you're not stopping. Go all the way through. I love it. Yeah, and this reminds me. Good. Make sure you're really rotating the hips though. That'll help even more to get the body. Yeah. No, I mean like pivot
Soldiers, can we bring it in really quickly? This side of the
Ball
court.
with you.
Bring your ball with you if you have one. Does everyone remember what court they were on when they were doing the forehand drill? Yes. Okay, I want you guys each to go to that same court. We're going to do the same drill. We're going to work on our backhand return this time. Okay, so go ahead and go to the same court you were on for the earlier drill.
Katie, Brent, Alyssa?
Are you the timekeeper?
Yes.
You?
Coach, we started at 10:05, right?
4 after, but close enough.
Okay.
All right. Before we begin this drill, does anyone have any questions?
Katie, how's your
About
shoulders
the
feeling?
backhand, forehand, grip? Any questions so far?
Alright, you want to try that
Does
out?
everyone feel? Do you guys all feel comfortable with the backhand after practicing against the fence?
Same concept as the forehand drill, but we're just going to go to the backhand, alright? You have 2 balls in the back of the line.
Nice move, sir.
Remember to open up the opposite way of moving back the opposite way of the forehand. And really be strong with the ball on your contact. You don't want to have a weak wrist. You want to make sure your wrist is really firm so you get a good contact. That's all right. Make sure you keep that racket face square. Good. That's a good height too.
Very nice, Katie.
Out, Alyssa.
All right, Henry, here we go. Nice backhand.
Kind of lunge for it. Make sure you got your ready position so you're going to get that pivot. You go into it. Alright? Just be fluid a little bit, you know? Not just get through it.
All right, Ryan. See your ready stance. Good.
Here you go, Daniel.
Stand.
I got it.
Nice. That's good. Really good form.
Soldier out.
Nice work, Ryan.
You're really having that stiff wrist, because if it starts to get fidgety, you lose less control.
You ready? Let's get him with the ball. Here it comes. Ready, Brent? Open up. Oh.
Good, there you go.
Got one in the atmosphere there. Make sure you try and really get on that sweet spot. Once you hit the sweet spot, you'll
That's good, Brent. Keep thinking about your hip placement when you're following through to lead you.
Right, let's do one more. Run, really watch the ball. Racket square. One more.
Very nice.
Perfect. I know I'm a big yellow target. Try and hit.
Really focus on
A key thing you guys are starting to find a little bit is the sweet spot on the racket. You'll find out that if you hit around the outer edges, you're going to have kind of less control. You want to find your sweet spot in your racket kind of closer to the center, and it's going to feel real fluid.
Hey, that's a good hit. Nice and smooth. Let the racket do the work.
Oh, jeez.
I'm glad you can prep me a little bit.
What happened?
What I
Did
want
you hear
to see
that
there,
bubble?
you see
That was
the way
under the
your
car.
racket's facing,
Or
you're
it
kinda
hit the
hitting
car or
there,
something.
And then you're going through. If it's more of a one. Was that Coach Moore's car? Because I don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
I got a good insurance policy.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure you don't hit that. Hip placement too. If your hips are facing that way, the ball's gonna go that way.
All right, Ryan. You can come up. So you're ready to stand. Open up.
So let me get one more. I want you to get this contact here.
The racket face heel doesn't
Focus on that contact. There you go.
Good. Wow. Good backhand.
Coming.
Ready?
All right, Monica. Focus on really hitting